Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth and this is TheMoonlitFlora. Welcome. I am so excited to finally be starting my very first YouTube channel. I've been watching cozy gaming Sims 4 content on here for years. Some of my favorite creators that I really want to highlight are Deligracy, SidMac, SimSav, Kelsey, and Peach K. I would say those are my favorite four that as soon as I see a video, I immediately have to go and watch. And I will link them all down below just in case you have not discovered them. They're either really great at building or storytelling or both. And they've definitely inspired me to do what I'm doing here, which is creating my own YouTube channel where I get to play Sims with you guys. I love to see the community that they each have built and that they have that creative outlet, and that's just really inspired me. So I hope you will check them out, and I hope you will subscribe down below, hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload another video, and I hope you will enjoy watching me as much as I enjoy watching them. And a little bit about me. My name again is Elizabeth. I am married. My husband's name is George. We have 4 fur babies, 3 dogs, 1 cat, and some things that I like to do. I like to go on walks and hikes. I love to host dinner parties and game nights with friends and family. I also love to do cozy gaming like Disney Dreamlight Valley, Sims 4, and then I've also loved to garden. We've been doing it the last couple years, and this year we really went all out. We built some raised beds. We have quite a few different vegetables out there growing, a couple of different kind of cut flowers growing as well. And then I've also picked up recently embroidery. I picked up a kind of beginner's kit. So I'm just kind of learning like the straight stitch and the running stitch. So very just at the beginning of this hobby. So I'm just learning. Yeah, so those are just a few things about me, and a few things that you can expect from the channel is your normal Sims 4 gaming content. We're gonna do Let's Plays, challenges, we're gonna do build challenges, review new packs, updated Sims news. I might do a special video here and there just to show off my Dreamlight Valley because I do decorate in there and play the game and love it. So I might just want to share a new area that I might have decorated. But we're mostly going to do Sims 4 content. Another thing I really want to do is create my own save file, which is very daunting. There are so many worlds. I think there's over 27 at this point, and every year they keep adding more. So it's definitely gonna be a little daunting, but we're gonna start small. I'm gonna pick my favorite worlds and we're gonna add in fresh new builds. We're gonna have fresh new businesses that will just be fun, update characters, give them new looks, add in new characters, maybe kick out some of the ones that I don't care for or just aren't vibing with. Just so that I always have a fresh save file to play with whenever we start a legacy or a Let's Play challenge. Another reason I really want to do the save file is to hone my build skills. I'm really good at taking a shell or a pre-made home and gutting it, adding rooms, adding floors, decorating it, changing the layout, and making it look really good. But kind of taking a blank lot and building from the ground up is something I'm not as experienced in. I've only done it a handful of times, and there's a lot of tips and tricks, and there's a lot of learning and kind of a curve there, and I kind of want to use the save file as just a way to work on those skills and bring you along on the journey of honing those skills and sharing those tips and tricks that I learned with you guys. Our very first Let's Play challenge that we are going to be doing is Tiny Town. I am so excited to finally be starting Tiny Town. If you haven't heard what Tiny Town is, it is a challenge that was created by Deligracy. She's been playing it on her channel since early last year, and I think she's even on season 2 at the very end of it. And I have loved watching this challenge, and I think what I love the most about Tiny Town that Deligracy created is that it is a beautiful, fun blend of storytelling and building. It just kind of goes very well hand in hand, and I feel like the Kickstarter that was like, okay, you've been wanting to start your channel, this is the Let's Play you start with. So it has very much inspired me to get started, and I will link down Deligracy's playlist to her playing Tiny Town so you can see what it's like if you haven't checked it out already. And just a little kind of synopsis of it. You basically have a group of Sims, usually 7 to 9, and you move them one tiny towner at a time onto a massive lot, usually the 64 by 64 lot. And they have to earn their money through their skill. They have a color and aesthetic that you build their house in. You build their tiny house. You contribute to the community so that the next tiny towners are not as bad off as they were. And then once that's done, you move in the second tiny towner, and you keep doing that until they all are moved into the lot, and there's just this beautiful tiny town community on the one big lot. And that's basically how you play the game. And I went into cast, was like, I'm just gonna create a bunch of characters, and I'll cut, the ones that I just don't vibe with, and narrow it down to the 7, 8, 9 characters that I need. I couldn't do it. I want to play with all of them in Tiny Town because in my head, they all go together because I've made them all spellcasters and female. So as I was creating these characters, I was imagining like this coven. Whoever the first person will be the coven leader, and they go throughout the world, recruiting other spellcasters into their coven and into their village in Tiny Town. So I had to kind of figure out a solution, and basically it's just, we're going to do an expanded version of Tiny Town, which I'm dubbing Tiny Village. There is this great neighborhood in the world of Ravenwood. I really liked Ravenwood because it still had this magical element to it for the spellcasters. And Crow's Crossing is even more perfect because there's 2 very large lots. There's a 64 by 64 and a 50 by 50, and they're kind of on the outskirts of the town center of that neighborhood. And in the town center are 3 small lots, and they're all gonna have to build storefronts for their businesses, which I thought would be a fun extra twist onto Tiny Town. So we'll have to complete the entire neighborhood. So one residential area will be more rural, so very overgrown, played very typical Tiny Town where you build in their little tiny home and their aesthetic, that kind of thing. But then the other residential area will be more urban. So think townhouses, apartment buildings, we're going to build up. So there'll be a little bit difference between the 2 different kind of residential lots. And then for the business lots, we could probably fit about 4 to 5 on each one. And I'm thinking of very kind of Castor Alley from Magic Realm look, or kind of Diagon Alley. So yeah, I really kind of love the update that I've made to it, and kind of expanding on what Tiny Town is to make a tiny village. And I'm very excited to introduce you to each of the characters I created. So this episode is, of course, going to be learning about me, the channel, and then also kind of introducing the characters from Tiny Town. And then our next episode, we will actually get into the first gameplay of Tiny Town, Tiny Village. So let's hop in and show you our tiny villagers. All right, I pulled up our character cards so I can introduce you to them all. I will be playing with the rural characters first and the urban characters after that residential lot is complete, just to keep with consistency. I think just, playing on one lot at a time will just make more sense. So we're going to start with the rural lot first. So I'm going to introduce you to the rural characters first. So we have Luna Moonstone. She will be making her money through gemology. Her color is purple, and we're going to be building in a Victorian vintage style for her. And of course, her storefront is going to be a jewelry shop. They also will have to complete their aspiration. I want them to, some of them I have to complete a collection, and some have little special ones. There are some 2-people households, and so some of them have some special goals as well. But we'll talk more about that when it's time for their turn to be played. So let's move on to Juniper, Elixir. Her skills will be potions and sorcery. There is a new pack coming out in mid-July, which you get the apothecary skill, which again would fit so perfectly with her because she was going to open an apothecary as her storefront. And I was originally going to make her the Coven leader because she was just our most magical character that we had, and it just made sense. But now I don't want to play with her until the apothecary skill comes and we get that apothecary table. So I'm thinking Luna might end up being our Coven leader because she is the next to like what I feel is the most magical. So that's what I'm thinking. But I really wanted Juniper to be the Coven leader. But we'll figure that out when we get there. But she's going to be now the apothecary skill. We're going to do color green for her and storybook cottage. And of course, we're going to open an apothecary for her. Next is one of our first 2-person households, and that is Dakota Loop Deluxe and Briar Aspen. They are a couple. For Dakota, she's going to help make money through cross-stitching and knitting. Briar will be woodworking. Colors are yellow and brown. We're going to do a very boho interior, and the outside is going to be kind of like an A-frame lakeside cabin look. They're kind of, I know one of their goals for their, specifically for them is to get married within the episode or within their episodes. And of course, they're going to build, their storefront's going to be a craft store. So be able to buy crafts, the knitting projects, the different woodworks pieces that Briar makes as well. Next we have is Noelle Novelle, which is one of my favorite names I came up with. She's going to be writing. Her color is neutrals, and we're going to do a Spanish revival type home for her. And she's going to open up, I'm thinking like a bookstore cafe is kind of what I'm thinking for her. And then we have Skye Flora. Her skill is floral arranging, gardening, color is blue, and we're going to be doing a Cape Cod coastal kind of aesthetic for her house. And then of course she's going to open a flower shop, flower stand type thing on one of the business lots. Next, we have another 2-person household, and we have Autumn Merlot and Naomi Glaze, and they are sisters. They had different dads, so they didn't really grow up together, and they grew up kind of very distant and not really knowing each other, and kind of an estranged relationship. So they're going to have to move in together and kind of build a bond and like learn to love each other as sisters. That type of stuff is kind of the background of the 2 sisters. Autumn will be doing nectar juicing. Naomi will be doing pottery. Their colors are red, and we're going to build a rustic ranch with kind of a cozy western interior. And for their storefront, I'm thinking a pottery shop at the first floor, and then the second floor have a wine bar with a balcony. Next we have is Piper Bowie, and she's our last rural household. And she's going to be making money through singing and any of the musical instruments. Her color is gold, and she's going to build her home in old money Georgian style. So think Graceland. Like that is definitely my inspiration when I build her house. And we're going to do probably either an acting workshop classroom school for her. And yeah, that is it from the rural. Let's move in and meet our urban tiny towners. All right, we have Betty Meringue, and with that name, you know, she's got to be a cook or a baker. We're definitely going to be focusing on baking. I think will be mostly her niche. I actually think her aspiration is the small appliance whiz, I think is what I made her. Her color is mint, and we're going to build a mid-century retro type townhouse for her, and we're going to open a bake shop for her. Next we have is Lindsay Light. Her skill is photography. Her color is white, and we're going to do a traditional European London style apartment for her. And of course, we're going to open a photo studio as her storefront. Next we have is Sadie Starlet. She will be making her money through acting. Her colors are pink and pink, not blush or bashful. And we're going to be doing a Barbie dream house, think like Malibu condo. And her storefront will also have to be some kind of like workshop where she teaches acting, something like that. And then next we have is Raven Heist. She is our most naughtiest of tiny villagers. She has the kleptomaniac traits, and so she's gonna be stealing and selling the things that she steals, hacking with computer programming. Her colors are black, and we're gonna do a penthouse, very tech futuristic style for her apartment. And then for her storefront, I'm thinking of doing cyberpunk club or lounge, and then like a secret back area where she teaches coding and like how to hack, and it's kind of very secret back there is what I'm kind of thinking for her storefront. Next we have is Monet Palette. Okay, so I know it's pronounced palette, like a color palette, but with her name being Monet, I always want to say Monet Palette. And so that is her name, Monet Palais. And her skill is painting. Her color is orange, and we're gonna do kind of like a New York brownstone loft for her. And she's gonna open an art gallery. So that is Monet. I love her look. And next we have is another 2-person household, and we have Adele Twitch and Aurora Couture. They are besties. They have been friends since elementary school. They are each other's person. Adele will be making money through video gaming, media production. Aurora will be making money through selling fashion styles on Trendy. Their colors are like rainbow, so very bright, vibrant colors. And when I knew we had all those colors that I wanted to work with, I immediately thought of New Orleans. I'm originally from Louisiana. I'm a true Cajun at heart, and I really wanted to do one of the homes to be very New Orleans style. And I think those townhouses that I'm thinking are called an American townhome. So very bright, colorful French Quarter look to it. And I will make sure that Aurora gets a very stylish closet. Next we have is Gidget Gadget, which is my other favorite name that I came up with. Her skills will be robotic and fabrication. I'm actually really worried about the skills for this one and making money, so we're gonna see how that goes. Her color is gray, and her style is gonna be very eco-friendly, sustainability. She's definitely a green fiend. I'm thinking like the typical kind of like shipping stacked, like stacking shipping containers for her home. And she's gonna open a, kind of like a workshop where you can go and build things, you know, robots and have fabricators and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and also for Adele and Aurora, their storefront is going to be a thrift shop with an arcade in the basement. I forgot to mention that. And then last but not least is our last 2 tiny villagers. And I actually just added Claire because I just wanted, because this is the urban lot, I wanted there to be a wise presence on that lot. And I wanted Indy to kind of have something tying her to something. And I just thought, oh, we need her grandmother. So their backstory is her grandmother raised her since she was a young child. Her parents passed away. She's very rebellious and she left home at an early age. And now that she's older, her grandmother's older. Her grandmother needs a little bit more help. So they're moving to the tiny village and they're going to live together and, you know, kind of have to reform their bond. So that is kind of the little backstory for them. So Indy will be making money through tattooing. Claire, Voyant, will be making money through being a medium and conducting seances. Very dark color aesthetic for them. We're going to do a tutor with like an eclectic parlor with a very kind of dark academia interior. And for their storefront, of course, it's going to be a tattoo parlor. And I think it's going to have kind of like a little secret seance, little kind of shop in the back. Kind of what I'm thinking for them. So yeah, those are all of our characters that we have for our tiny village. I do have enough space on my rural lot to add one more. And I think what would be really fun is to do a community polled character. So I want to like get feedback from you guys on building that like final character that we're going to add on the rural lot. Figure out like, you know, take all these skills away. Like, what do we have left? What do we want their aesthetic to be? What do we want their like color palette to be? Things like that. And I think it'd be so much fun to have that kind of led by you guys and, you know, pick the favorites from everything and make a character together for us to have in Tiny Town. So we will probably start polling in the next few episodes as we move along and we get a few more subscribers and watchers. I'll start to do that poll so we can get that final character played. And I think it'll be fun to come after the expansion pack as well, in case that kind of gives us any new ideas. Obviously, the apothecary skills go into Juniper, but maybe there's some other stuff that we can do to make money within that pack. So yeah, that is our Tiny Towners. I do want to jump into the game real quick because I just want to show you the different lots and how they look. And then we'll get back into gameplay in our next video. So let's go jump into the game real quick. All right, here we are in Ravenwood. If it looks a little different, it's because I have a map replacement in. I do use CC. This map replacements are for every world. It's a creator named, I think it's 20th Century Plum Bob, I want to say. I'll have it linked below. I actually went through all of my CC because I have a ton of build CC. And I wanted to use it in all of my gameplay here on YouTube, but I wanted it to be player friendly for anybody that may want to download a build or something like that. So I went through all of my CC and really curated a list of creators that I thought had amazing CC that fit well into the game, and that their CC was not behind paywalls other than an early access release. So they all have, where when they put out a new pack or new CC, they'll be like, you know, a 2-week, 2-month kind of paywall for early access, and then it goes free to the public after a certain period of time. So I would say 98% of my CC that I currently have is free because it's already way past their paywall time. It's just anything that's brand new. So yeah, I will have the CC, but I did curate it so that we're only using certain creators, and I have a spreadsheet that will link you to each one of them below. And anytime we use one of the CC, I'll try to mention, oh, this is from Harry, or this is from Felix Andre, or Sixum CC, just so that you know which item is from which creator when I use it. And I'll try to do a good blend of the actual game furniture pieces versus CC, so I'm not just using all CC. I do try to like do a good blend because there are some really great pieces in the regular game, which I feel like it just like enhances it. And there's not too many creators on YouTube that use a lot of CC in their builds because they do want people to be able to download it from the gallery. But that's why I did try to curate a really fine-tuned list of my favorite creators and have links for you to be able to download if you wanted to. But yeah, this is just fun, and it doesn't do anything once you're in the world. It's just kind of like a map replacement, and I have them for all the different worlds. So if you go to Willow Creek, I just think it adds, this guy must spend a lot of time creating this. I just feel like it adds a lot of depth to the maps, and it kind of looks weird without them. I had to upload without them a few months ago, and I was like, something looks off, and I was like, oh, I need my map replacements back. So yes, this is Ravenwood, and this is the neighborhood that I'm talking about. It is Crow's Crossing, although I do want to like rename it for the story. So I do want to give our tiny village a name, and I think we can do that later in polls once we have viewers and subscribers. I think that'll be fun to actually come up with a name for our village instead of Crow's Crossing. So this is kind of the town center. You can kind of see it on the map, how there's just like all these buildings, and then there's these 3 lots that kind of go into it, and then here are the 2 big residential lots that are on the outskirts that we're going to use for our residential. We're going to pop into our rural tiny town lot first and show that off, and then we'll move into the urban. All right, here we go. I just got a new mouse, and it's the kind with like the roller ball for your thumb, because my regular mouse, I learned when I was filming that for some reason, when I would move the mouse, I'd like pick it up and slam it down, and I never realized I did that until I was trying to film and was like, what's that god-awful noise? And it was the mouse. So I'm kind of having to learn how to use, it's very like sensitive with any movement. So I'm kind of learning a new mouse. But this is the lot. There are 2 entrances, but I think everything populates to this entrance, I believe. We have a good amount of room for community resources all here. If we do add in that final character that will be community created, it will go, the little lot will do like a fence from like here to here, and then we'll still have this nice L-shaped for the community. I'm thinking kind of a gazebo here, and maybe doing like a building here for guest house, bathroom, greenhouse, that kind of stuff. I do kind of want to keep it very green here. This is the more rural lot, so it's very overgrown. I kind of think of it as a developer like 30 years ago was going to develop on this land, ran out of money, and then this was what was left, and it became decrepit and overgrown over time until, you know, the Coven leader decided to come buy it and start her Coven on the land. So we'll start in this corner. It is going to be for Noelle. I did put a little basement here because to write in The Sims, you need a computer. So computers die in the rain. So I did build a little basement. It's nothing special at all. It's a 3x4, just enough for her to come in, have a computer, the cheapest of all cheap, and no other luxuries. Each person starts with a tent and a ice chest, and there are woohoo bushes back here. Yes. Each one has a woohoo bush, but my plan is for every character you play with, they have to contribute to the community before you're done. Because the thing about Tiny Town, Tiny Village is you're always wanting the next Tiny Towner's life to be just a little bit easier. So I'm thinking with the first person, we'll probably end up doing some kind of guest house or a bathroom or something like that, so that, you know, they don't have to like live off the grid so much as we progress through the tiny villagers. And like that's a part of it. It's supposed to be about community and helping the ones that come after you. And I kind of love that storyline that the first one or two are going to have to rough it, but after that it gets a little bit easier for you as the player and for, you know, the rest of the community. It keeps getting nicer each time you have a new Tiny Towner. Next to her will be our couple, which is Dakota and Briar. So here's a woodworking station, and then here is the little rocking chair and cross-stitching and knitting. That word was escaping me. And they have their tent, nice chest, and a woohoo pea bush back here. And then right next door to them, and I wanted them to be next door to each other, is going to be Skye Flora. We're building her kind of a Cape Cod coastal look. And because we're doing like a lakeside cabin for them, I kind of thought of having like this little water feature lake that kind of goes across both of their properties. Just kind of like tie that together with both of them having kind of like more waterfront type of homes. Then in the very back here, we have for the sisters, which is Naomi and Autumn, we have our nectar making station, our pottery wheel, and then because wine has to age in the basement, I did make a little basement to be able to age the wine. Then up in this kind of like middle area, we have for Luna, we have her gemology table. We're going to have her tree already planted, the crystal tree. I have found from watching other people, by the time they get the seed, they plant it, and it actually finally starts to produce crystals, the gameplay is almost over with them. So I figured I could go ahead and get it matured. That way we're already producing crystals. Then next to her in this other back corner is going to be Juniper. We'll probably end up switching this out for the apothecary table and maybe just moving the cauldron out here just because they're all spellcasters and could use it. And then in this final spot is Piper. She does have a guitar to start with, even though she can also do singing, but I did give her a guitar as well. And of course, if we do that community final villager, that'll go right here. So yeah, and of course I have, you know, the trash cans, a grill, a picnic table to kind of, as you know, start her off community area. And that is our rural residence area. So let's move on to the urban. All right, here we are on our urban lot, and you can see why I chose it to be the urban lot. It's very built up. It almost looks like new construction. Finally, a developer came in. They started, you know, surveying the land and like getting rid of all the trees and kind of making these different plot areas. And then, you know, our Coven leader was like, I'm gonna buy you out of that. And so this one's definitely very more manicured. It has like street lights already. It has kind of the park benches and nicer trash cans. So it's just a very more manicured lot than the rural. And we are building more up on this lot. So here would be a community area, and then here, so that we could go up 4 stories, we can go down 4 stories as well. So we can definitely have room to go up and down for all our community features. So we got 4 on each side on this corner. And so these lots are a little bit smaller than the rural, but it's because we are able to build more up and down. So they didn't have to have as much width or depth to them. This will be Adele and Aurora, because Adele needs the media production table. I'll put it in the basement. I was pretty sure that was short out in the rain. Next to them is Monet. So we have her her little easel right here. Next to her will be Lindsay. She's got the cheapest little camera right here. I don't think it'll short out in the rain, I don't think. Next to her in this final spot is Raven, and she has her computer down here. Again, nothing crazy, just the cheapest of the cheap. And then over here we have Gidget. So down below we have the workshop station, robotic station, sorry. I wasn't sure if that was short out in the rain, and I'm probably going to do a little research to see if she makes more money with this or the fabricator. So I might start her with the fabricator instead, but I wasn't sure and I just went with robotics. So that's what she's gonna start with. Next we have is Indy. So she's got her tattoo table right here. I don't know if she needs the tablet to do anything. If she does, then I'll get it for her, but I don't think so. But I have not really played with the tattoo career other than kind of watching other people play with it on YouTube. And then of course I need to add something in for Claire now that we've added her into our villagers. I don't know if she can, we'll start with like a seance table for her. So yeah, so we'll probably have to add something for her. And then we have in this spot for Betty, so we have her like little cheapest little kitchen down here. I did give her a fire detector though. So just the cheapest sink, counter, stove, fridge to get her started. And then next to her, and last but not least, is Sadie. She doesn't have anything, but I was actually just watching the last, this final episode of Tiny Town season 2 that Deligracy is doing, and she has somebody that's doing the acting skill, and I saw that you have a ton of, there's quite a few skills that you need to level up and for your auditions and for you to act, and one of them's fitness, which is a free thing to do because you can just go run around a lot. But I might add a guitar or something, and I'm also thinking I'm gonna put a chess table in our kind of community area here because I feel like that'd be like another like developer thing that that would be on the lot already, and I feel like that would help with her logic. So that would give her logic, give her the guitar, and then give her fitness to be able to do her career. And she'll be the hardest one, I think, because she won't make money right away. It takes a couple days to get the like to do the audition. It takes a couple days to do the gig and finally get paid out. So she's probably gonna have a few days where she's not making any money. But I will still allow everybody to go and harvest around the world to make extra money. As long as the majority of their money for their house comes from their skill, I don't care if they sell a frog so they can eat or anything like that. It's fine. I won't be too like strict about 100% of the funds has to come from their skill. I just want the most of it to come from their skill. And she'll definitely probably have to like hustle and go, you know, find some frogs, find some rocks for a few days. I will start each character out with 150 simoleons, so 2-person household would get 300, and that's just to help with food and if they have to buy any supplies for their craft. Deligracy starts each person out with a box, and they're able to either use something in that box or sell it for money. So this is kind of the same thing, but just without the box. We're just starting you off with 150. You're good. So yeah, that is our tiny little village we have going on. Let's see, I think if I switch cameras to free camera, I can kind of show off the town center over here. So there is a lot here, a lot here, and a lot here that we will use for businesses. And of course, all these characters will be able to roam the neighborhood as they live here. And I think that's going to be super cute. And we'll make sure that everybody has residence keys. So anybody that's on the rural lot will get a residence key to the urban lot so that they're all can just kind of go on and into each other's lots for play, which I think will be really cute and fun. But yeah, that is our tiny village. I'm excited to finally play, and our next episode will be gameplay. I think we're going to start with Luna for her to be our Coven leader, and then I think from there we'll either spin the wheel. I might want to play with Juniper second, just because I will want to play with that new apothecary skill, and then I will spin the wheel for all the rural ones and then all the urban ones. So please, I hope you will subscribe down below, bell icon if you want to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.